This kind of journalism is a lost art. It's a lost art, bro.
Hey, what's going on? This is Lecrae. Right now, you with Hardknocktv. Yeah.
It's been 5 years since last time we sat down. Congrats on all the success. You got Grammys now.
Wow.
You're working on your 8th studio album.
Yeah.
I remember last time we talked about Pac's influence on you.
Yeah.
Have you had a chance to see the movie at all?
I have.
As a Pac fan, like, how did you feel when you saw it?
Okay, it's a catch-22 because as a fan, you're excited to see anything that's talking about him. You know what I mean? So on the positive side, I think it's dope just that he's still being talked about. His legacy still lives on. Creatively, man, you know, I felt like, man, I probably would have liked something a little more epic. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we saw him in better movies to me than he was portrayed in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that'd be my only pushback.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I love the relationship with his mom. I feel like they got, you know, that right. But I feel like some of the other stuff, like especially his impact, I wish it wouldn't have ended at his death because it's like he died, but his legacy carried. The new song you put out, I'll Find You. I actually lost one of my best friends to cancer this year.
Wow.
So when I heard that and when I read that, it hit close to home.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, you know, how that song came to be, what the inspiration was.
Man, Frank E, the producer of the song, he did the Wiz Khalifa Charlie Puth record, and he didn't realize how impactful it was gonna be. And so, he found out, over the course of time, how many lives were impacted by that record. And he said he wanted to do something like that again. He's like, man, I just love that vibe. And so he said he had been wanting to do something with me because of that. He felt like we could create something special. And, his mom is battling with cancer. And so he kind of had this concept and this idea for a song, because of that. And that was the skeleton of I'll Find You. And then when I met with him in the session, we sat down in the session, I told him my DJ was battling with cancer. And so it just made sense. It was like, oh, this is the perfect combination to just get down and create. And then we brought Tori in the mix, and she's a good friend of mine. And man, it just made sense. It just all came together really nicely. His mom went into remission. She's back. Her cancer's back. And then my DJ, of course, DJ Official, passed away. But it still just is a reminder for everybody to keep fighting, to keep hoping and keep believing, man, regardless of what your situation is.
Her voice on it just sounds so angelic, and it kind of like fits what you guys were talking about.
Yeah. I'm hanging on by a thread, and all I'm clinging to is prayers, and every breath is like a battle. I feel like I ain't come prepared. Death's knocking on the front door. Pain's creeping through the back. Fear's crawling through the windows. I'm waiting for them to attack. They say don't get bitter, get better. I'm working on switching them letters. But tell God I'm gonna need a whole lot of hope keeping it together. So, just a little taste of what we wrestling with.
Just being in the hospital and going through those dark times when you're like, you don't know the person's gonna make it through. That is a time when you gotta call on whatever you feel on the inside, like for something just to not even explain, but it's like, especially with somebody young like your DJ, it's like, you're like, man, it's not supposed to happen right now. And then just trying to put everything together. Talk a little bit about how faith plays into dealing with a situation like that for you.
Faith it's a foundation of hope, and it's a foundation of like, man, support and, a power that's beyond me that can, do what I can do, that can control circumstances that I can't control. And I think that's what wakes me up in the morning, what keeps me focused, what keeps me, pushing through is realizing that, life is more than my circumstances, and that there's meaning and there's purpose behind everything that's going on in this world. And so if you believe there's meaning and there's purpose, then you can have hope. You can believe that you're here for a purpose. You can believe that, things are happening for a reason, even though you don't quite understand them. And I think that's the biggest aspect of it, especially for a song like this and what people are wrestling through every day.
I know Hopsin is a close friend. When he was going through like Ill Mind 7 or whatever, where he was questioning his faith and stuff. And I remember we had side conversations where he was like, he talked to you and he said that you had reached out. What do you tell someone who's going through that?
First thing is give them the freedom to wrestle. You know what I mean? Just give them the freedom to like let them know it's okay to battle, to question, to wrestle. You know what I mean? That's what makes us human. And then outside of that, it's saying, I'm here to wrestle with you if you want that. Like, let's go through it. I think a lot of times the problem is people want to fix you and not face you. And so for me, it's like, man, I want to face my friends and be there with them and walk with them through all the hard stuff. And if they don't believe or subscribe or wrestling with doubt or whatever, it's all good. I'm still be right here with you. And then, man, I'm gonna be there to answer your questions if you got questions about it. And so, end of the day, I just would say, man, you know, like specifically, like, you know, a friend like Hopsin who's asking those type of questions. I'm like, man, it comes down to meaning and purpose and value. Like, what's your worth? What do you feel like you're here for? Do you feel like you have a purpose? Because, you know, if you don't believe that you're here for a purpose and you're just a bunch of atoms and cells in a cosmic accident, and so nothing really matters at all. So it's just kind of helping them remember, you know, you were created for a purpose. You were made for a reason, and it's digging from there.
Do you remember the point in your life where your purpose just kind of became clear to you?
Yeah, I think, you know, I felt like I felt hopeless for a long time, and I think that hopelessness comes from not feeling like, man, I was created with worth and value and purpose and meaning. And when I didn't know that, I think that's when I struggled. And it was when, you know, I went to a conference in Atlanta where it was really made clear, really made evident. You know, that's when, you know, faith was laid out in front of me. It's kind of like, it's not about what I've done or what I can do or you know, any of those particular things. And life has meaning and it has purpose and it has value. I'm just not investigating what that is. And I think, and then having good people around me, man, people who can constantly be in my life and to reaffirm those things. It's a daily struggle. It's a daily thing. And I think every day, you know, not to make a long story short, it's an everyday thing. It's not something like, oh, now I get it. It's like every day you're realizing more and more, you know, what you're here for.
Going down through your Twitter timeline, you were talking about the difference between a want and a need, and how really in life we only have few needs, and everything else is a want. For somebody who might not have seen that, can you elaborate a little bit on it?
I was saying, man, what do you need in life? You need food, you need water, you need oxygen, you need love. You know what I'm saying? It's like just shelter, right? Like that's what you need. You don't need, you know, fancy clothes or cars, or you don't need the new, you know, NMDs that's about to come out. Like, you know what I'm saying? But what we tend to do is we tend to look at what other people have and make that our need, you know, because what we lack, what we see that we lack becomes this passion and desire to have, and it's like it's need now. And you have to remind yourself to just be content. It's like, you know, it's okay to be inspired by other people, you know what I mean? So it's like, maybe I'm inspired by your success, but I don't need to have what you have to be successful or to mean something or to matter. I just need to, my needs are different than my wants. And so I think we just lack contentment, man. We're always looking at what the next man has. You know, you got, you know, $50,000 a year, it's your first great job. You feel like, man, I'm doing great. Now all of a sudden you got friends who got 80 grand a year. Now you like, I need to get 80. And you get 80, now you got friends who got 150, and you're like, I need 150. And it's like, you never needed, you were fine when you had 50, but you just saw what you didn't have and now you want it. You know what I mean? So it's just finding that contentment.
Let's transition that into Blessings, which was the track you put out with Ty Dolla, which is a banger. I hear it every once in a while here on the radio. I'm like, I'm glad a song with positive message can sneak its way into rotation.
Yeah, Blessings, man, was just, you know, I felt like everybody was speaking on it. You know, it's like a term that was just like thrown out all the time, blessings, 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 blessings. Yep. And I wanted to kind of like, you know, give my take or my opinion on that, and really say like, you know, everything is a gift. Everything. Waking up this morning is a gift. Like being able to see the sun rise, that's a gift. You know what I mean? And just like talk about those little things that I think we always forget, because every time you hear somebody talk about blessings, it's always like something massive. You know what I'm saying? Like you see me driving a foreign, it's a blessing. It's like, that's it. Yeah, you know, that's a gift. But so is waking up alive. You know what I mean? So is like, you know, I got friends who lost their 1-year-old children. You know what I'm saying? Just being able to see your little one alive and well and healthy, that's a blessing. So I just want people to be reminded of like family and love and relationships and God and faith and all those things, and just appreciate them.
Speaking a little bit about both that song and the new song, it seems like they're both, I don't want to say radio friendly because I don't feel like you made them for that, but they're both songs that could be played on the radio.
Yeah.
Have you felt that people have been receptive to playing, or is there still a stigma that, because there's some spiritual, I mean, you figure that, you know, it's like Chance, you know, Kanye, like people are starting to include more, you know, spirituality, but to me, it's always a struggle. It's like, okay, you could have, not to diss any particular song, but you could have a Molly Percocet on the radio.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about blessings, or if you're talking about I'll find you, somehow that's taboo. Have you felt that now that you actually have songs that, in my opinion, should be on the radio and are in line with, you know?
I mean, you know what? I think people don't know what they need until, or what they want in a lot of ways until they are exposed to it. So I felt like just being on the underground, people weren't exposed to what I was doing. And so they didn't even know that they would appreciate it or like it. They just had it in their mind, it's not for them and they're not gonna like it. And then as soon as they got it in the system, it's like, oh, we love this. You know, like, oh, we love blessings. We love I'll find you. And so I think it's not so much like they're resistant to my music. They were just resistant to the idea of what they felt like it was, or you know, and it's really kind of, you know, it's kind of hypocritical of hip hop. So I really like hip hop. I have to always push back and say, we're the most marginalized genre in culture. Like, why are we marginalizing each other? You know what I'm saying? Like people didn't want it, and we didn't care that people didn't want to hear hip hop. We didn't care. It was like, we do it in the basement, we do it in the closet. Like, we loved not being mainstream. We loved going to the little underground things. And that's what hip hop was. So it's like, why would you marginalize somebody different? You know, that's how Tribe Called Quest got birthed. That's how Outkast got birthed, was them embracing who they were. And that's all I'm doing. You know, I'm not trying to be nothing. I'm not. I'm just being me.
It's crazy. I was actually part of the Rap Grammy committee, and we spent, I mean, I can't put too much of the stuff out there, but we spent a good time on that conversation.
Yeah.
I was fighting for you to be in hip hop, because I was like, I get that you have a bigger chance of winning in another section, but I was like, to say that because a subject matter, somebody shouldn't be in a particular category is limiting what the category could be.
Yeah.
I respect that you're breaking those boundaries and you're pushing along. I think the only way we grow as a culture is for people to say, hey, if this is hip hop, this needs to be hip hop too. Like, all sides need to be represented.
I agree, man. It's weird to me because, you know, that's always the biggest misconception when it comes to me is like, oh, are you gospel? And it's funny because I'm like, I grew up in hip hop. Like, I don't even know gospel, you know what I mean? And no shade or disrespect. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just, that's not my culture. That's not what I come from. You know, I'm a Christian who loves hip hop, and I'm a part of the hip hop culture. And I mean, Chance is a Christian who loves hip hop. I think it's the introduction. It's how people come to experience you or what they hear about you. But when you meet me, you'll learn really quick, like, this is who I am and what I'm, you know, interested in, and who am I talking to on the phone? Who am I texting? I'm not texting, you know, Donnie McClurkin, I'm texting Killer Mike. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is my reality, but, you know, my faith doesn't change my genre. You know what I mean? My faith is my faith.